Williams or, Tish James, who's the current Attorney General, or any of these individuals who also represent the great borough of Brooklyn and have been active in public service for years. Have you spoke to them? Do you have a relationship with them?
I know them. I have not spoken to them in relation to my campaign. This campaign is really grassroots. Most of the conversations that I'm having are with everyday people. It's with activists. It's with people in, the nonprofit community. So I haven't really had many conversations with elected officials.
So that's Jocelyn Talyor. She's running for New York City Mayor 2021. She's my #1 pick, Jocelyn Talyor.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because, it's always interesting for those of us that don't do the work to say what we want to do when we get the job. But it's always useful to talk to people who have seen it up close, the bureaucracy, the corruption, firsthand to see, how things are actually moving, right? And I remember when de Blasio became mayor, we talked to him, like Rosenberg said, several times on this program, and I would always tell him, the rich, racist elites in this city are the ones that keep your name plastered all over the cover of the paper in a negative way. And they attack you and they attack you.
So Jocelyn Talyor, she's got a shit ton of fucking awesome planks. I want to start out with some smart stuff. So she wants to defund the police and use the services for schools, mental health, and homelessness should be serviced by educators, mental health professionals, and social workers. Reallocate the funds into education and youth services, homelessness, mental health, and health care. End all broken windows and quality of life policing. End the broken windows theory model of policing, which is fuck you, Giuliani. So Jocelyn Talyor comes out strong. Also in CompStat. I've heard several of them talk about CompStat. Eric Adams is all about CompStat as a police tracking and metric system. Jocelyn Talyor says, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Defund the police and the broken windows theory model of policing and CompStat as the police tracking and metric system. Redefine methodologies utilized to determine success of the police department and promotions from within. Make the CCRB an elected body that has the power to discipline police misconduct as opposed to having the police discipline themselves. Reduce the power of police unions and encourage the AFL-CIO and other labor groups to denounce police unions. As a candidate, I refuse to take police union money, and I encourage other candidates to do the same. It's Jocelyn Talyor. Jocelyn Talyor, and she thinks that the NYPD budget's $6 billion. I've read that it's $10 billion. Andrew Yang thinks it's $10 billion. So she's just talking about taking $1 billion of the $10 billion. So they still have $9 billion, right? They still get all the goddamn fucking money. So we're defunding the police, but not defunding the whole fucking thing, right? Let the police do the police shit, but the shit that ain't the police, don't let them, they don't have to worry about that shit. The police don't want to do that shit anyways. Now, $1 billion, it sounds dramatic, right? It would simply return, this is Jocelyn Talyor from her website, it would simply return the NYPD's budget to roughly 2014 levels, a moment when crime rates had already plummeted in New York City. It is difficult to conceive that a return to the NYPD's already huge 2014 budget would have the deleterious effect on public safety. This is especially true when you define public safety as inclusive of the overall health, wellness, and sustainability of New Yorkers who require and deserve so much more from their city government in this pandemic. So Maya Wiley vowed to cut $1 billion from the NYPD. Maya Wiley, vowed to cut $1 billion from the NYPD. Wait a second. Jocelyn Talyor, she also vowed to cut $1 billion from the NYPD. Why that number? Why not $2 billion? Why not $500 million? Why not $500 million? Why did they both agree on $1 billion? Who thought of this idea first? And I'd like to think, I don't know. I'd like to think it was Jocelyn Talyor. I'd like to think that Maya Wiley fucking stole this $1 billion idea. Cut $1 billion from the NYPD, which is brilliant. It's saying, they keep $9 billion, but you're going to use $1 billion for other fucking shit. The shit that they suck at. They're good at coming up on the scene and shooting people and using violence, but if it, requires some thinking, they don't know what to fucking do. They're utterly goddamn lost. What? Oh, I don't want to think about it. Just tell me what to fucking do. But don't don't tell me what to do because I'm the cop. So, let's just say I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to get the hell out of here. It's the first time Wiley had given an exact figure to defund the police. Movements garnered following the killing of George Floyd. Okay, so I think it's time for civilian. This is also Maya Wiley. She's saying that my police commissioner will be 100% committed to effective policing and will not come up through the ranks and the rank and file of the New York City Police Department. We cannot continue to reflexively promote from an organizational culture that is broken. She's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. And so what do you got? What do you got? You got a whole bunch of, you know, a bunch of criminal justice reform, a bunch of police reform. Jocelyn Talyor, you know, wants to eliminate cash bail, decriminalize poverty, fare evasion, loitering, decriminalize minor offenses such as e-bikes, disturbing the peace, etc., decriminalize simple drug possession, legalize cannabis. This is all Jocelyn Talyor. She's running for New York City mayor, and you don't know shit about it because, you know, the fucking media won't say shit, and we don't have, the left doesn't have any kind of Fox News. Oh, you got a bunch of fucking, you know, disorganized, I don't even know what the fuck you call it, but it's definitely not a network of anything. No kind of network of anything. We have New York City's race to talk about, and you want, you know, some fucking gossip and who's saying what about whom. Lots of that shit happening in New York, and then it would be useful too for the people of New York. It'd be useful for our democracy. But no, we're gonna focus on the dumb shit. Hey, you want to focus on the smart shit or the dumb shit? Jocelyn Talyor wants to legalize cannabis. She wants to end the war on drugs, get rid of cash bail. She wants to, let's see, have the tax revenue go directly back to the communities most harmed by the war on drugs, social equity, ensure small businesses and local entrepreneurs can participate in the cannabis industry, in the school-to-prison pipeline by ending zero-tolerance policies that funnel students into the prison system, removing police from schools, and removing metal detectors from schools, close Rikers Island. There's another idea. Is that another Jocelyn Talyor idea? Close Rikers Island and stop the construction of new jails. Fund programs that reduce recidivism.
And even the police officers turn their back to Mayor de Blasio.
Recidivism.
He was trying to.
All right, man. Enough with you. We're trying to listen to Jocelyn Talyor here in a second. This guy. This is from.
They operate, and as you
Hot
can see by the
95.
insurrection in the white
Hot 95.
domestic terrorist temper tantrum that took place last Wednesday, there were cops.
Hot 97.
I read articles that said there was FDNY out there, that there were military out there, school teachers out there, that were running up in the Capitol, all because they wouldn't overturn black votes in Atlanta, Detroit, Milwaukee, and Philly that gave them the swing states. And so this is what's operating in the that's not even the underbelly anymore, on full display in this country. And it's just whomever takes the reins of this city is going to have to openly and directly, deliberately address the racism that exists in New York City and has existed for a long time. New York City tries to act.
That's interesting. So she wants to defund the police. This is such a radical, incredible fucking Jocelyn Talyor running for New York City. She wants to defund the police, reallocate the funds, end the broken windows theory model of policing in CompStat as the police tracking and metric system, in CompStat, in broken windows, and police, defund the police. Also, make sure the CCRB is an elected body, which is the Civilian Review Board, right, to make sure they're an elected body, so democratize the body that's over the police. You probably should get them arrest and subpoena investigative powers as well. And reduce the power of police unions, definitely. And also, in the war on drugs, legalize marijuana, decriminalize poverty, eliminate cash bail, close Rikers Island, stop construction of brand new jails. This is incredible. This is a lot of radical, progressive, incredible stuff.
But New York State does too. But we can see there's Trump supporters right here. How are you going to deal with that?
Well, you know, as it relates to meeting with elected officials about the bureaucracy and everything that's going on, you almost don't have to meet with them because I see the results of the bureaucracy. I see the results of the inaction. As it relates to those in the media and with power, you know, like I said before, we can't be impressed with people with money and power and afraid of them at the same time. Listen, those people are not the people that are going to be voting for me anyway. If I continue to work and go down the path that I need to go down in order to be successful in this campaign, that will show them better than I can tell them everything that they need to know. This is a pivotal moment. People are tired of it. You know, and I'm not going to people asking them for permission to end racism, to end the practices and policies and procedures that are racist. I'm not asking for permission for that, because people that have implemented these things for years at no point are going to give permission for it. How many years do you wait? 400, 500 years? I don't know what the number is, but I am going to go in and intentionally dismantle these racist practices. I see it every day. I see it in, you know, when I'm trying to do business with the city. I see it in our education system. I see it in our housing system. But I'm not going into it, you know, focusing on changing their mindset. We may never change their mindset. You know, on some levels, maybe racism is a mental health issue. But what I can control and what I can change are these policies and procedures that impact Black and brown communities and even other struggling poor communities that aren't working.
One of Mayor de Blasio's biggest failures is homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And figuring out where to put shelters, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason it's a problem is because the places he's proposed to put shelters, the communities block him from putting those shelters.